apparently, the episode did not portray all of the struggles, the horror, or anything that made this passage in the light novel, which was over the top glaze to the moon, right? Really like shine through with the anime adaptation. ReZero's cave scene was way worse than you think. Cut content. Let's see it, Ellen Historian.
If you thought the new episode of ReZero was gruesome, it was actually nerfed twice. First, from the web novel to the light novel, and then again in the anime.
Does it count if the light novel is nerfed from the web novel? Considering the web novel is also like a loose... Like, people say that because the anime is adapting the light novel, and the light novel, again, is like a more polished, more correct version, and the web novel is like this experimental draft. I don't know. The way that people talk about web novel content and how the content from there does not matter as much as the light novel, I'm more inclined to think that light novel matters the most.
And in the anime, in the web novel, the cave sequence plays out very differently.
Okay.
Subaru initially takes the left path and encounters the Hungry Horse King.
Hungry Horse King. Cool name. I want to know, Guilty Low versus Hungry Horse King. What is the power scaling there? Because the way that Guilty Low was glazed as a Maju, a Maw Beast that is just right under the big three calamities, the big, you know, like the whale, the rabbit, the serpent. There's no way Guilty Low loses to this, right? Unless, but Hungry Horse King just feels like it has more aura. Okay, we went left first.
And encounters the Hungry Horse King, which ends up with him being completely incinerated, his body literally melting. This death doesn't happen in either the light novel or the anime.
I would have loved to see that, but I guess that would then take away from like the, what's the word? If you've already seen what's gonna happen in the left passage, would it add on to like the shock factor of how the episode ended? In one way, I can kind of see how not knowing and just being exposed to the Hungry Horse King right away, like how the light novel and the anime did it, would be more like, boom, that first initial reaction is like, wow. But in another way, on another perspective is, if you already knew what's on the left path, and you intentionally made left again, right? Fully aware that like, you're probably gonna march to your death, but it's better than going crazy and schizoing out if you go right. That doubling down actually kind of adds in more, I don't know, depth of like the choice you're making and like the impact of that scene. So either way, I think would have been pretty cool.
Novel or the anime. That experience directly influences Subaru's next loop, where he chooses the right cave instead. But in doing so, he forgets to ask...
So Sigmund Freud does not matter at all. Some people were saying that the Sigmund Freud line of like go right was also like changed from something that had to do with the Gintama reference. And I'm like, what? Am I reading this correctly?
Doing so, he forgets to ask Ram about Rem. That small mistake creates tension, leading Ram to question his concern for her, which then spirals into the conflict fueled by the miasma.
This was a very fun part because the amount of retardation that exists in the pretentious YouTube comments, especially for a show like ReZero. So many people are typing, bro, are you fucking stupid? Subaru saying he wants to go see the sage is the same thing as him saying he wants to save Rem. But if you had any ounce of media literacy, you would understand, yes, going to the sage is the most important thing right now to get the outcome that we desire. But when you place the sage in front of Rem like that, no matter how different, you know, like basically the difference in the priorities here, no matter how the same the outcome is, that is showing that he is forgetting about what's most important. To then not understand this very simple concept of why Subaru said this and why Ram got mad, of Subaru also kind of held back of like, yeah, I kind of fucked up, to then confidently tell other people that they don't understand what's going on is just like the height of pretentious intellectualism that you see in anime adaptations of light novels where people think that they're smart because they read ahead. And it's just like, you are Yamauchi's. You literally belong in Classroom of the Elites, E-Class, E for expelled.
The miasma. Compared to the anime and light novel, I think this progression feels way more natural. The web novel's brutality is genuinely insane. It's so graphic, I can't even repeat it on TikTok, with detailed anatomical
Oh yeah, right. That's cap. There's no way he couldn't describe the gore that's happening. Like, on TikTok censored? Lies.
descriptions in scenes like Patrash crushing Subaru's head, or the smell of the bodily excrements from Anastasia's guts.
Bruh. We smelling her shit? We actually smelling her shit. You know what? You saw the guts and the intros fall down, right? But like, hey, here, you know, where is poop made, guys? Do you know how, like, when you eat food and how it comes out your asshole, right? There's an entire process, right? So I'm not saying it's complete shit just yet, but all that shit making it through the intestines and all just being cut off and just bile and all that nasty shit coming out. Ew.
Anastasia's guts. Overall, the web novel is way worse than the light novel, and the light novel is way worse than the anime.
Yeah, and I think that here's a limitation of the anime in scenes like this. When I read the passage in Witch Cult translations for chapter 1, I think, I noticed how extremely detailed the descriptions are. The visuals, the smells, because when you're reading something, right, obviously you're not seeing. So instead, the author must create such descriptive, imagery to make you visualize what's going on. And a lot of the times I notice Nagatsuki Tappei in the way that he does his writing, right? And same with, what's it called? Cuttlefish 2 for Lord of the Mysteries, right? I read some chapters, right? The descriptiveness, really explaining all through the different senses, right? Smell, sight, hearing, taste, whatever. It really creates a more defined, immersive experience than maybe what you see in the anime. In the anime, it's like the shock factor, and now you get the voice acting and the soundtrack and the direction, which is the adaptation of the written passage portrayed like this. But for sure, the goriness and the shock factor, the goriness and like the just how nasty it is going to be not as impactful compared to the two separate things because of the difference in the medium.
Novel is way worse than the anime. Even the ending fight with the Hungry Horse King had major cuts in the anime compared to the light novel and was quite different in the web novel, though all versions ultimately converge with Shala's arrival.
Why is she so strong? That's what I want to know. And here's another video that I want to check out, and please let me know if we can watch this video, right? I know that Ellen the Historian does a lot of, spoiler stuff too, but there's literally how powerful is Shala really, and I want to watch it, but I'm kind of worried because I feel like I should at least wait a week. It was ridiculous how powerful she is. She just summons these infinite needles that it's like I am, like the bone of my sword, unlimited blade works. This shit is so fucking overpowered that you saw the distance from when it was being sniped from the tower to Subaru before. How strong it was. Like, what the fuck? Why is the sage this strong? What the hell is she all about? At the end of the day, I still feel like Shala, I hope that she understands that Subaru has returned by death, considering she knows all, she is the sage, and that she is testing another sage candidate, right? She might be ending the near of her term. Who knows when the retirement of Shala as the sage will be? The fact that 400 years has passed, but she still looks like a teenager bewilders me. And I wonder if, again, this is like a trial to test Natsuki Subaru in, is he worthy of it? Can you problem solve? Can you solve? So at the final scene here, if we go with that logic, right? I guess her bailing him out is basically like, okay, I understand that this is an impossible situation, and I think you've done actually a pretty damn good job in getting this far. Therefore, I'll bail you out. I think that's what's going on, and I also think that she has like a soft spot for him. If you've seen the trailers, you've seen the interactions with her and Subaru and how she is just so Subaru fanboy coded, fangirl coded, not even in terms of like the visual aesthetics of the color schemes, right? But her overall love of this character. It's kind of nuts, but we'll see next episode. Please check out link to this. Boom. Go check out Mr. Ellen Historian. Congrats for the 100K subs, by the way, and see you next time.